Welcome to episode 148 of Rebirth Revolution. My name is Melissa Olson. Let's talk some more about parenting. Someone once asked me how you turn a baby into a good person. My advice is that you can get really clear on what your intentions are for your child. Once you know your intentions, you can develop a parenting strategy. We can't trust ourselves to just be winging it out here. We can't afford to just try to survive the job of parenting. This job is way too important to not have a game plan. It doesn't work to just hope and pray that your child turns out to be the type of person you wish them to be. You need to determine what matters to you and then provide the opportunities for them to develop the necessary skills. What is the end product that you want? What type of person do you want your child to be? Once you know that, you can take that vision and back into it. If you want them to be responsible, give them responsibilities, starting early and always done at an age-appropriate level. Children learn by doing. They need to have the feelings that come with doing a job well, and they need to learn how to make corrections when the job hasn't gone well. This builds their sense of internal strength and resilience. If you want them to be kind to them and acknowledge the kindness you see in their choices. They need to know that kindness matters to you, that it is an attribute that you value. If they are reading a book or watching a show where someone is not kind, have the conversation with them about what that person could or should have done instead. Help them zero in on what kindness looks like in every setting. If you want them to be strong, give them the ability to test their own limits, again, taking their age into account. Strength is not limited to physical feats. Point out to them when they have demonstrated the strength to try again or to pivot in another direction. Make sure they can see and appreciate all the aspects of strength and know that is what they are demonstrating. If you want them to be loving and accepting of others, make sure that they are exposed to content that shares the experiences of people who are not exactly like them. This is why the current movement to remove so many reading materials from schools that aren't about straight white males is so dangerous. No one can gain the greater picture of how many different ways people live and all that they must grapple with without hearing their stories. This is how children develop empathy for people who are not just like them. To shield them from other people's experiences results in dangerous people who are quite willing to denigrate, if not completely wipe out, anyone who was not exactly like them. A universal truth is that everyone can learn something from anyone else's story. There are common threads that run through the human experience we are all having. You may think that you have nothing in common with someone else, but you will always be surprised by the connections, both beautiful and painful, that exist. If you want them to be confident, connect them with their own feelings. Confidence is an internal job. When my sons attended their Montessori preschool, I noticed that the teacher would respond very differently than I would when they would show her something they had accomplished. She never said, "Great work." She always asked, "How do you feel about what you did?" They were seeking external validation and praise, and she was teaching them that what mattered was how they felt about what they had accomplished. Such an easy modification, but one with profound effects. We are sending children out into a cold, critical world. The internal voice that tells them whether or not they are on the right track needs to be loud enough to drown out the voices that don't matter. Part of that is helping them trust their own internal feelings of accomplishment, and the other part is to let them know that there are other people's voices that are worth considering, but the list of reliable voices is much shorter than they might imagine. Children are living in a high-tech world where it seems that everyone on the planet has an opportunity to weigh in on everything they say and do. Obviously, most of those voices, either good or bad, do not have the authority to judge them. Just like being on different levels of spiritual awareness, each and every person is on a different level of skills and understanding. The voices that would judge them do not know where they currently reside in terms of skills and understanding. Therefore, they have no idea whether what a person says or does is a move forward or backward. The critic is judging them based on the critic's current level of skills and understanding, which may be considerably behind or ahead of where the person they are criticizing resides. This is certainly not limited to children. The same concept applies to everything we see on social media. Someone may say or do something that either seems really good or bad to us, but that judgment is always in relation to where we are right now. We don't know what a win or loss is for someone else. If you want your child to have self-respect, you need to first show them that you respect them. You need to set the bar for how they are treated so that they will not accept less from others in their adult lives. Your job is to provide them with a home in which they are safe from physical harm, whether from a parent or a sibling. No one should ever have to live in a home where they have to be concerned for their physical safety. They also need to live in a home where their thoughts and feelings are valued and understood to whatever degree they can be. You need your home to be so safe and full of love and acceptance that they could never feel comfortable in a space that offers less than that. Imagine the never-ending hell it must be to have bullied and abused your child only to see them enter into future relationships that mirror that back to you. You wouldn't have to spend the rest of time watching a replay of your parental failures. The same can be said for sibling abuse. If you allow one child to bully and abuse another child, you are failing your parental responsibilities, and the future for your family will reflect that. If you want children who think for themselves, you need to ask them what they think and truly hear them. You can always ask further questions that may lead to them rethinking a position based on something they missed, but you should not shame them for the thinking that reflects their current level of understanding. If they think for themselves, they may be a bit trickier to parent, but that's fine. It may be easier to parent a docile, obedient child, but you are not going to feel good about sending a docile, obedient adult out into the world. They will be eaten alive. Some of the characteristics of challenging children are the exact characteristics that will make them fine, independent, successful adults. If you force them to acquiesce to your every demand while they are growing up, they will need to find a new master when they go out into the adult world. If you control them too much, they will need to find a very controlling partner. Again, not a mirror that you're going to want to look into till the end of time. When these magical bundles of sweetness arrive here, we can't just wait to see how they turn out. The job of parenting is the job of giving them the context of what values matter and giving them the tools to develop their own ability to demonstrate those values without your constant intervention. We are preparing people to function independent of us in a very complex and messy world. You can't prevent all heartache and sorrow for your children, no matter how well you parent. But that was never your job. Your job is to give them as many tools as possible. It is not possible for you as the parent to truly understand your child's reason for being here in this school. You can't know all that they are attempting to learn, and you can't necessarily know the best path for them to get there. What may seem like a wrong turn to you may turn out to be exactly what they needed to build to the next step. You don't want to demand that they take the path that you think is right or force them to make choices that only make sense to you, and then leave them to deal with the consequences of your choices. Your job is to help them get to the point where they are fully connected to their own wisdom so that they may make the choices that are best for them. Each child is here for a unique journey. As their guide and advisor, you get to go along on the journey with them. It's a journey that you wouldn't have had access to if not for that child. It is a blessing. It is a challenge. And it's a magnificent opportunity for your mutual growth. Let them know that the journey is one that naturally contains highs and lows, wins and losses. Let them know that they don't need to do it perfectly for it to go as it is supposed to go. And let them know that you are in their corner no matter what. Thanks for returning for another week of Rebirth Revolution. Deciding what matters to you in the raising of a child is a wonderful exercise in general. It allows you to examine your own thoughts and feelings. Taking something vague and putting it on the page strengthens your resolve and clarifies your vision. Rebirth Revolution can be found on all the podcast apps, the music apps, and full episodes play on our YouTube and Facebook pages. You can find all episodes on rebirthrevolution.com. Please download, rate, and review wherever you can. There is a glitch in the RSS radio app, which I know many people use. It has 2 different listings for Rebirth Revolution. One of the feeds does not include the latest episodes. If you search for the podcast and add it again, you will get the correct version. Then you can delete the one that is not up to date. Until next week, figure out what matters to you. Write it down. Stick with your COVID precautions and see if the choices you make reflect your own inner vision. Remember, you are loved exactly as much as every other person on the planet, not 1 ounce more or 1 ounce less. Stay strong and safe and open to growth.